Today, today we are having the second lecture. First, allow me to apologize for the sudden change of the classroom. It was not decided by me. I received an email today at 1:30 that that there are too many registrations, so we cannot enter the classroom, the other one. And I was asked if it is okay with me to change the classroom. I said yes, so it happened quite suddenly. But I think this classroom is better. We are having almost 160 registrations, which is okay with me. I don't have a problem. So here we are. Welcome. This will be the lecture, the classroom for this lecture. Last week we were having 97 registrations, which means that more than 60 students, if they are here now, don't know anything about this lecture. So hi, I'm Antonios Karaiskos. You can find my name here. If you check classes, you can find the material from last week's lecture. And please be careful. You can also find a provisional provisional version of today's lecture, which means that after today's lecture, I will correct maybe any mistakes I have made and upload the final version, which will be for your exams. Okay? So every week on Friday or Saturday, I upload Zanteban provisional version. You can use it for preparing if you want to. If you don't, you just ignore it. It does not exist. It's okay. And after the lecture, I will upload the final version, which you can use for the exams. So, I will only give the new students the important information. This is not important. You don't have to care who I am. This is not important. Oh, it is important. I like watching movies, okay? But it's not for your exams anyway, so. Oh, yes, this is important. This is my email address. I know that some students have sent me emails on Saturday and Sunday. I was in Tokyo, so I have not answered your emails, but I will do it today. So don't worry, okay? It's not Kidoku through, no. I have read them, but it's not true. It's only Kidoku now, okay? Not true, not true. So yes, this is my email address. You can use it. Oh, you cannot use it for spamming, etc. Okay? No meiwaku mail, thank you. What else? Yes, each lecture starts with a short revision because I know that you might be absent, so you don't know what happened the week before. So I will always start with a short revision, during which you can raise your hands, say something, because in this lecture, we have a final exam, 80 points. It will be quite easy for you, because you are Kyoto University students. Yay. Okay. So, also the international students, okay? You're all Kyoto University students now. So, each time you come to this lecture and you write your names on one of these papers here, there are two papers like this. You need to write your name here, so you get 1 point each time you write your name. Now, many years ago, I was a student like you. Not here in Athens, but I was a student. So I know what students think. Some friends of yours will tell you, you know, I'm having a date on Monday. I cannot go to the lecture. But you can write my name. You just change the letters a bit to show that it's another person. And I will buy you a bento. How's that? Of course, you will say yes. No. You will say no. Okay? You will not say yes. You will say no. Why is that? Because I trust you. We could do this other way. We could have a machine and you, there's a machine there. So I could also ask you, please touch your student IDs, etc. I'm not doing this because when I was teaching in another university, a private university, there were some students who were coming into the classroom, touching their ID cards. So there was a sound. Beep. I would look at them. They would look at me and they would leave the classroom. So, yes, it actually happens. So, this is not pleasant for us. So, I prefer it this way, okay? But please remember that I trust you. So, try not to abuse my trust, okay? Now, final exam, 80 points, 3 questions. First question, true or false? 正しいか、正しくないか. You just choose. You read 30 sentences and you choose if it is correct or wrong. Second question, Anaume, fill in the gaps. You will have a short paragraph with some gaps. There will be 15 gaps and 30 words to choose from. You will use only half of the words. So, first question, 30 points. Second question, 30 points. That's 60. Congratulations, you've already got a passing grade. But, of course, if you come to the lecture, you also get 15 points, 1 point each time, which means 75. If you raise your hand and say something, you will get a maximum of 5 points, which means 80. And third question of the final exam, short essay in English. If you write something, you will get something. So, you can get up to 80 points without saying anything at all in the lecture, during the lecture. You can get up to 80 points without writing anything in the short essay. Okay? So if you're not good in writing in English, you don't have to worry. It's only 20 points. You can still get 80. But if you attend the lecture, if you write something, you will get something, so it will be more than 80. Okay? Don't worry. Last year and the year before that, the success rate of this lecture was quite good. It was a bit more than the average. So you don't have to worry. I'm not strict. Any questions? No questions? So this means either that you understood everything or that you did not understand anything at all. You're laughing, which means that you have understood everything. Okay, thank you. So, okay, so let's start with a short revision of what we did last week from here. Hello, we're starting the second lecture. So, last week, I was saying that when you're studying law, there is not only one answer. There are many possible answers. And sometimes, not only one of them is correct. You can have more than one correct answers. Why is that? Let's have a look at this. From today, if you raise your hand and read something, say something, then you get some points. But the maximum is 5 points in total, okay? Please do not misunderstand. So even if you raise your hand 10 times every week, you will only get 5 points. But it's not, it's quite important. Because if you get 86 plus 5 is 91. Something changes. Okay? Who would like to read Article 36 of the Japanese Constitution? Thank you. So, first, I need your name and a pen. Okay, the pen is here, so I need your name.
My name is Yosuke Inoue, the second Yosuke last time, so do you remember me?
Of course.
Thank you.
Okay, yes, thank you. So Yosuke, could you please read Article 36 of the Japanese Constitution?
Yes, Article 36. The infliction of torture by any public officer or cruel punishment are absolutely forbidden.
So, this provision, thank you, tells us that it is forbidden to have cruel punishments. The issue is, what is cruel? For example, the death penalty in Japan, as I told you last week, it's done by hanging. So the question is it not cruel? In the United States, in some states, you're having an injection, jusha, an injection of some chemical substance, and then the person dies. Is that cruel? There could be many answers. Some would say it is not. Some would say it is. So, when you're studying law, and this is the most interesting part, there is not only one correct answer. You need to persuade the other. You need to tell him why this is cruel or why this is not cruel. And as I told you last week, the Japanese Supreme Court, Saiko Saibansho, the Japanese Supreme Court says that this is not cruel. Why? Because there is a law which says that the rope should be X meters and the procedure should be like this, how many persons will attend, who will do what, etc. But as I told you last week, according to research, it takes 15 minutes for the person to die. It's not immediate. So many university professors say, no, this is cruel, because it takes 15 minutes of suffering.
Second or minutes?
Minutes.
That's very long.
Yes, that's very long. Thank you for doing this. So, I forgot to tell you, no, this is important. Please do not hesitate to interrupt me. I would like you, I'm not joking now. You shouldn't laugh here, okay? So, don't hesitate to interrupt me. It's better for me having you interrupt me and asking me questions rather than going out and listening to you saying, あの授業全然わかんねえよ、あいつ何言ってんだろう。For international students, if you need translation, ask somebody around you, okay? They will explain you what I've just said. But it was easy Japanese, so maybe you also understood. So it's better for me to have you interacting and asking, okay? Rather than tweeting or Facebook or, okay? Thank you. So now, yes, it's 15 minutes. I know it might seem a bit strange, but according to academic and scientific research, it seems, of course it depends on the person, but they say that usually it's not immediate, and on average it takes around 15 minutes. Yes?
Just a comment.
Yes, the microphone please, it's better. Yes.
It's just something that occurs to me. You've honed in on the word cruel, but punishments also is interesting in that I understand Japan does not have the 48-hour rule with police being able to hold people without charge. Therefore, the fact that they can hold them for 3 weeks isn't a punishment, but it is certainly cruel. And so it circumnavigates the law in a sense, but it's still, for example, I just mean the 48-hour rule. Sorry.
Yes, thank you. That's a very good question. Actually, we were talking about that during my other lecture last year, second semester jurisprudence. Of course, you were not there, so you don't know. And we were saying that that's the Japanese legal system. So I almost agree with you. Yes, we could say that it's a punishment to keep somebody for 3 weeks without knowing if he or she has committed a crime. But on the other hand, when he or she is released, according to, if my knowledge is not wrong, there is a system of remuneration for those days, which of course does not allow for a very big amount, but it's still something for the suffering.
But under some interpretations it could count as torture, and particularly in the fact that there have been issues of forced confessions in recent times. There have also been beatings, and I think 2 years ago a foreigner died in police custody in Fuchu. So you have this issue that infliction of torture, I think they're referring to physical torture, but there is the mental, emotional torture as well.
Yes, thank you. That's a very interesting issue. I agree with you. And of course we don't have so much time, so I will stop here, but let me just tell you that it's also an issue of evidence always. So that's also something I was saying during my last year's second semester lecture, that you have some penal law keiho provisions which say that you're not allowed to kill somebody. Of course, if you kill somebody, you're punished. It's Article 199 of the Japanese Penal Code. But they need to have evidence. So there's always the issue of evidence when you talk about legal provisions. Yeah, thank you very much. It was very interesting. Could I have your name, please?
It's long, sorry.
Oh, yes, we have
Matthew, Alexander,
yes,
Battagline, B-A-T-T-A-G-L-E-N-E.
yes, okay.
It's Italian, so it's hard to spell.
Oh, thank you. So you come from Italy or?
Australia.
No. Australia. Thank you very much. I love Australia. Okay, we don't have time. So anyway, so last week we were also talking about different purposes. What's that? There is the Juvenile Act, Shonenho, which says that if you are under 18, you cannot be sentenced to death. Many people criticize this. They say, why? And of course I understand that. Because if you're 19 and you kill somebody, maybe it's death penalty. If you are 17 and kill somebody, then it's not the death penalty. But we were saying last week that the Juvenile Act, Shonen Ho, and the Code of Criminal Procedure, Keiji Soshoho, have different purposes. Why is that? Because if you read the slides, the material I gave you, here it says this is the ordinary procedure, Keiji Soshoho. It says quickly, appropriately, public welfare, fundamental human rights. So this is almost the same in all countries. This is what is required from a criminal procedure. But if you have a look at the Juvenile Act, Shonen Ho, it says correct their personality, modify their environment, etc. Or the juvenile's sound development. So I told you last week, yes, we understand this, so the juvenile needs to be protected. But what happens with the victim? And I told you an example. If I had a son and he was killed by a person who is 17 years old, I would not say, yes, we need to correct his personality, modify his environment, and also take care for his sound development. No. But both are necessary, in fact. So, here you see the issue of different purposes in laws. And finally, the issue of fairness. As I told you, if somebody tells you, you know, I would like to die. Why? Because I don't like the lecture of Karaiskos. And he or she asks you, could you kill me, please? Please, please. And you say, okay, let's do that. Then it's a homicide with consent, doi satsujin. You will be punished. Let's now think of another situation. There is a person who is very ill, cancer, final stages. He or she is suffering pain. And he tells you, you know, I'm dying in 1 week or 2 weeks, but I cannot endure that. Could you please kill me right now? And you say, okay, let's do that. You're also punished. But the issue is that fair? Is it fair to have the same punishment for both cases? We will also talk about that. So let's start with lecture 2 now, the new material, okay? We finished with the revision. We are people, and we live in groups. Some of you might say, no, I have a friend, he's a hikikomori. Okay, he always stays in his room, he plays PC games, he doesn't go out of his room. Yes, but he is living in a group. Why is that? Well, because I guess that he is buying his food from somewhere. If he gets ill, he will go to a doctor. He is staying in a house which was not prepared by him, but by somebody else. So he's not living actually alone. Okay? He's staying alone in his room, but he lives in a group, which is called society. And as you know, we say that the human being is a social animal. Social animal. Because usually we live in societies, we don't live alone. This is good, but it's also bad. Why is that? Let's say that we go somewhere and there comes a person and tells you that I have 3 cakes. Please eat them. Feel free to eat them. You are 160. So 3 of you will eat a cake. Maybe you can share. So let's say 10 of you will have a piece. But the other 150 will have nothing. Usually, you don't say, oh, no, it's okay, please go ahead. What you will see if you go to a hotel where there is a dinner and you can eat whatever you want, you will see people rushing, pushing, taking, etc. So, usually, we have conflicts, hunso. Why is that? Because we all have desires. I want this and I want that. You know that from your friends. There is a beautiful girl there. You cannot see her. She's so beautiful that many male students like her. So there's a battle. Who will win her heart? And usually you don't say, no, go ahead, it's okay, I'll find another girl, okay? So this happens a lot maybe with your friends too. So that's why we have disputes. So some scientists, for example, Thomas Hobbes, maybe you know his name, Hobbes. He was saying that a man is a wolf to another man, which comes from the Latin proverb homo homini lupus est. So it's something like this. We say, hi, how are you, etc., and I like you, and we're friends. But if there is 1 million yen there, and it's just the 2 of you, many things might happen. Okay, so it's something like this here. So, if this is true, then we need law. Why is that? Because otherwise, people will fight each other. You know, this classroom is very interesting. If you stand here, you're half hot, half cold. I think there is air coming from somewhere. So I feel the right side is very cold and this side is very hot. So maybe I should turn around like this sometimes. You know? No, it's okay. Yeah, we do that in Greece, in my country, Greece. Now we're having Easter, Fukatsai, Easter. And they prepare lamb, hitsuji, mariaki, you know, a whole lamb, and they cook it like this. So you need to turn the lamb, keep the lamb turning round. So maybe I should also do it like this. But I'm a human being. I need to be in societies, okay? Anyway. So, yes, why do we need law? Because if there is no law, then people would fight each other, and we would have a situation like this. This is from the movie Mad Max, The Fury, the new one. No laws. The strong one wins, takes the water, takes the food, takes the blood. If you're weak, you have nothing. Maybe this is good for the strong guys, so maybe not good for me. But to be honest, there are also rooms here because you might. Have you seen the movie? Could you raise your hands, the ones who have seen the movie?
Training film.
Oh yeah, thank you for the information. Okay, so this is a problem with Kyoto University students. You should study less and watch more movies. Okay. No, I'm joking. You also need to study, but you also need to watch some movies to get some different viewpoints. So, anyway, so this is the bad guy. He's the boss. He's the boss of the bad guys. I was telling you that here there are no rules. The strong guy wins. It's not so correct because he has his own rules. He has created some rules to protect his water, his food, his women. So maybe the same thing happens in society too. At the beginning, there are no rules. People fight each other. Somebody wins. And when he wins, he doesn't want to lose the things he has won. So he says, okay, let's make peace, no more fighting. Let's create some rules. Rule number 1, do not steal from me. Rule number 2, do not kill me. And rule number 3, do not take other people's women, my women. So, this is somehow the way that rules are created according to my view. Maybe it's a wrong view, I'm not sure. Anyway, so there is the Latin proverb, where there is society, there is law. So if there is a society, you will always find law, because otherwise people will fight and fight and fight, and it will be an endless fight. Question. Yes, Karaiskos. My question is law the only form, the only way to do that? Answer. No. There are various types of norms, shakai kihan, norms. For example, morals, religion, dotoku shūkyō, customs, kanshu, law, hold, etc. For example, many of you. Okay, so let me explain the next slide. Not this one. Not this one. This one. Let's try to do something with this. Let's try to compare law and morals, ho and dotoku. What is same, what is different? Usually we say that law is the minimum saishogen of morals. What does that mean? You go into a bus and you see an empty seat which says Yusenseki. So it's a seat which should be by priority given to elderly people, expecting mothers, etc. But you're tired because you are attending my lecture. So you say 1 hour and a half of English. Is he stupid or something? Anyway, so he's Greek. Okay, he's Greek. So you see that it says Yusenseki, priority seat, but you go there and you see. And then there comes an old woman, 80 years old. You see that she cannot walk. So, what do? You suddenly start sleeping. And you pretend that you did not see her. Is that something which is according to the good morals? I would say no. It's against the morals, dotoku. Is it illegal? No. Because there is no law saying that if you're a student, and you sit on a priority seat, then you will be in custody and maybe punished. No. So you see that some things are against what you would say a moral thing, but they are legal. So law is only the minimum of the morals. It's not everything. Yeah, if you go into a bus in Kyoto on a weekday during the peak hours, you will see this. You will see people running to catch a seat, pushing. You will see a person sitting. So, as you know, the seats at the end of the bus, they are for 5 persons. So you will see a person with a bag here and something else there and something else there, taking space for 3 or 4 people. It's not something like this. It's a jungle, you know. If there is no law, then if you're strong, you win. Okay. So we would say that yes, law is the minimum of the morals. We will have a short break in 5 minutes. Please be patient. Second, law and our innermost thoughts. In Japanese, it would be naishin, uchi, and kokoro. Naishin, innermost thoughts. What's this? So, you are participating, you're attending my lecture. Some of you might think, I would love to kill him. First punch him 10 times, then throw him some books, then maybe open the window and throw him out. Oh, that would be so amazing. You're free to do that because it's your innermost thoughts where law does not intervene. Kainyu shinai. So you're free to do it. You're free to see a handsome guy and say, ooh, I would like to do this and that with him. Or see a band and say, oh, I would like to go inside there with a gun and etc. You're free to think. As far as you don't act. That's the law. How about morals? Dotoku. Well, morals would tell you, no, you shouldn't think that way. Okay? Morals would say, no, you should not think that you want to kill your professor. You should not think that you want to rob a bank. That's a wrong way of thinking. So you see a difference between law and morals. Number 3, physical enforceability. We will talk about that after the break. And finally, what happens if there is no provision that applies? So, we were talking about the bus in Kyoto. There is a guy who is sitting at the end row of the seats, and he's taking space for 3 or 4 people. There is no law. You cannot punish him. So, maybe morals could help us. We could tell him, you know, what you're doing is so wrong. Okay, so that would be in our everyday life. How about courts? Let's say that you go to a court. Let's start with civil courts, Minji Saiban. There is no provision. The judge, he did a search. He searched the laws, and he found out that there is no provision which applies to that case. Can he say, sorry, there is no provision, so thank you, see you again, you can go back home? No. So please take some notes here. Regarding civil trials, the judge cannot say, you know, there is no provision, so bye-bye, see you next time. He has to make a decision. How? He will use other provisions. He will use some similar provisions, adapt them, and apply them. How about penal law, 刑事裁判. You are caught by the police, prosecuted, and go to court. You are the accused. The judge searches the law and he finds that there is no provision. For example, stalking, stalker. The law about stalking is quite new. There was no such law many years ago. So what would happen? Yes, the judge would say, bye, see you again. Why is that? Because in the cases of penal law, 刑事裁判, you punish people. So you cannot tell them, there is no provision about stalking, but I will use some other provision in order to punish you. No. If there is no provision, he or she is innocent. He or she can go back home. So please remember the different approach between civil law trials, 民事裁判, and 刑事裁判 penal law trials. 5 minutes break. If you have any questions, feel free to come and ask. You can go out, you can go to the bathrooms, etc. You can think about killing me, etc. Okay.
It's hard to distinguish between what is illegal and what is legal, right? Yeah, that is true. But I just feel like Japanese people don't really, yeah, it's like whatever. There's no sense of protest. I feel like compared to other countries, it's just this happened, okay. We just sit there and okay.
で縛ることじゃあもういいかも。それとこれと2つだけ。ディズニーなんか入れてて。
Like 2 years. She's like abroad, so she wants English really well. So talk to her. Thank you. I still live in the state of California. American accent? Really? Yeah. Is it a Victor? Oh, it's like so people are, they're not actually protesting, they're actually complaining. They're like encouraging yeah, architecture. They're promoting architects to like join the labor union. Recorded it?
Okay, let's start with the second part of our lecture. Don't worry if you have not written your name, you can do that after the lecture too. Okay. So, we have left one item. We have left item number 3, physical enforceability of law. In Japanese, physical enforceability of law would be 法の物理的強制. So, okay, so maybe you are a bit tired. As always, I will show you a photo which has nothing to do with the lecture, in order to allow you to refresh, etc. This time, I know that you don't care, but I will show you a photo of mine when I was 18 years old. Yay! Thank you very much. So, this is me when I was 18 years old. They tell me that I was a completely different person when I was young. Okay? No, it's not me, okay? It's not me. Anyway. So, enforceability, 強制力. What's that? Let's start with penal law, 刑法. You do something which is against a penal law provision. You steal something, you kill somebody, etc. If you do that, you will be punished by a court decision. Let's say that you need to go to jail for 3 years. If it was me, I would say, No, thank you. You know, I don't like jails anyway. So thank you. I will go to a hotel, okay? And it's okay. I will try to be a good boy there, okay? No jails. Thank you very much. They will not care. They will come, take me by force. They will enforce the punishment. 強制する. Actually, the same happens with civil law, 民法, 民事裁判. You borrow money, and the other person tells you, when are you going to give me my money back? And you tell him or her, oh, you're such a bad person. Why are you asking me to give you your money back? You're bad, you're mean. So he goes to a lawyer. He files a lawsuit, you go to court, and the court orders you to pay the money back. And you say, you know, Judge, I like you, you're a good guy, but I don't care about your decision. I'm not going to do that. So they will enforce the decision. They will enter your house maybe, take some things, sell them, auction, and the money will go to that person. So as you see, in the case of law, we will have enforcement, which does not exist in cases of morals. Even if all the passengers of the bus tell to that guy who is sitting and putting all his things on the seats, what you're doing is wrong. If he doesn't care, it's the end. You cannot enforce in that case. So, maybe you have understood that law is something special. Why is that? Because you cannot say, no, I don't care. See you again, Judge, bye. No, you cannot say that. They will enforce 強制. The question is, then we, all of us, all of you, you need to care about laws. Why is that? Because if there is a bad law, then in the future it might be enforced against you. So you cannot say, I don't care about the laws created by my government. I don't care. No, because as I told you, you might be the object of enforcement. So you need to care. You need to care about justice. So please put a circle around the word justice. What's that? When your government creates a new law, you need to check, is this law founded on justice? Yes, then it's okay. If it's not, you in the future might have a law which is against justice enforced against you. This is a Japanese movie. I am afraid to ask you how many of you have seen this movie, so I'm not going to ask. It's called Riaru Onigokko. So it's a movie. What was the name? Sato? I think? No? Yes. So it's supposed to take place in Japan. And the head of the Japanese government, well, it's not the government anyway, the head of the state, he says that, you know, in Japan we have too many Satos, so just catch all of them and kill them. There was another reason why he was doing that, but okay, that was his order. So why am I showing you this? So if we put it in your country, it would be something like Australia or maybe the States or Europe. We have too many Antonios. We don't need any more Antonios. So catch all Antonios and kill them, okay? So why am I showing you this? Because it has to do with justice. Let's say this is a law. Okay? This is a law which was created by the government. So the government says in Japan we have a very large population. So let's catch and kill all people named Sato or Tanaka or Kimura, etc. It's a law which means that it can be enforced. So the question is, yes, but is it founded on justice? I think the answer would be no. There is no justice behind that law. But this gives you an idea of what can happen if you have a law which is not founded on justice. We are not allowed to kill others, but the government is allowed to kill others. Why? When the government enforces laws. So, if you have a law which is not founded on justice, you can have legal, unjust killings, for example. Now, the question is, what is justice? So many answers. In Japan, during World War II, according to the most common understanding, justice was serving the emperor and the state. So if what you were doing was serving the emperor and the state, then it was justice. So laws were created based on this justice. In Europe, in the medieval Europe, Tuesday, there were the so-called ordeals. What's that? At that time, justice was God. So justice would mean realizing what God wants to happen. So there was no trial. Are you guilty or are you innocent? They would torture you, and if you did not die, then you're innocent. If you died, oh, he was guilty. You see, he died. What was the reasoning behind that? Justice. It's according to God's will. If you're innocent, God will keep you alive, no matter what happens to you. If you're guilty, God will let you die. This was also justice. I know that it's not justice for us today, but at some point of time in the past, it was justice. So the question is, what is justice today? I cannot answer the question. Why is that? Because the answer depends on the person, it depends on the way you think. If you have a look at the world map, Sekai Chizu, you will see that there are communist countries, non-communist countries, many types of governments. So depending on the way you think, justice is also different. Let's talk about Japan, because as you remember, this lecture is called Law and Culture in Japan. So, before talking about this, let's go a bit back. There is something I would like to add. We were talking about customs. Kanshu. customs are also a type of norms, 社会規範. Foreign students, international students, or Japanese students who came from other areas to Kyoto. One of the things you worry is when you take the escalator, which side should I stand? There is a guy standing on the left side and a woman standing on the right side. Should I stand in the middle? So, and if you're standing on the wrong side, there will come a guy, a salaryman with a large bag. He will push you. He will say, and you just walk the escalator because you were standing on the wrong side. Is that a law? No. According to law, there is no provision which says on which side you should stand. It's something like a custom. By the way, according to law, according to the regulations, well, it's not law, but according to the prescription of the companies which build escalators, you're not supposed to walk the escalators anyway. So there is no boom, okay? That should not happen. It should be the other way around. Why are you walking? Boom, etc. Okay, but anyway. So, yes, I have, there was a friend of mine, and he was analyzing this. This was very interesting. He was saying that, in Osaka they stand on this side, and in Tokyo they stand on the other side. So Kyoto is in the middle. It's something like a mixture, Nagoya too. But when you actually visit the cities, you see that it's mixed everywhere. I think that people just stand on the way where the others are standing. So you can change the custom. You just have to go to an escalator where there is no one. You stand on the wrong side, and people will follow you. Okay? So it's almost even not custom anyway. Now, we were talking about justice, and I told you that, there is no answer because what is justice depends on the person, on the period, on the country, etc. But there is something which is called Constitution, Kenpo. It's the top law. It's the most strong law. All the other laws need to be in accordance with the Constitution, Kenpo. So, if you have a look at a country's constitution, Kenpo, you can get an idea of what justice is according to that country. In Japan, there was the constitution of the Empire of Japan, Meiji Kenpo, 1889. It's a very good constitution if you have a look at it. It has a very well-organized content, very good provisions. If you look on the values, at the values on which it is established, you will see nationalism and totalitarianism, 国家主義 and 全体主義. It's not a question of whether this is right or wrong, no, because it was other times, other circumstances. However, if you have a look at the Constitution, you will see that the basic values were nationalism and totalitarianism. How about the Japanese Constitution today? Constitution of Japan, Nihonkoku Kenpo, 1946. Individualism, 個人主義. So, you can see how the basic values have changed through a long period of time. Which means that, of course, justice is also different if you go back to Japan of now 1889 and after. And justice is also different in modern Japan. Now, 1946. 1946. This is just after Second World War, World War II. So, question. What has changed before and after the war? Answer. Nothing has actually changed. It's just that the United States of America won the war with Japan. So the United States of America said, you know, Japan, maybe you could have a new constitution. Did you say no? Oh, you said yes. Okay, okay. And maybe your constitution should be based on individualism. What was that? No? Oh, yes. Okay, okay. So there is some evidence showing that something like that happened. So actually the society was the same. Of course there was war, many things were destroyed, etc. But the society does not change so suddenly. So you can see almost what happened, you can understand. So the Japanese constitution is said to have a strong American influence. Maybe you will not find this written in books, but in general, people say that yes, it was influenced by the American way of thinking, because America won the war, okay, so it's quite natural. Now, another question. Does this happen often? Does a country take as a model another country's law and follow that? Answer, yes, it happens a lot. So, World Bank, 世界銀行, publishes each year a paper, it's quite a long paper, called Doing Business. In the version of 2004, there was a ranking of legal systems. People like rankings, you know that. You will find, if you turn on the TV, you will see best hit ranking or something like that, best hits, rankings of music songs, rankings of everything. So in 2004, the World Bank said, let's rank the legal systems. Yes, but from which perspective? From the perspective of the ease of doing business. So how easy it is for a company to do business in that country. If it's easy, it means that that country has a good legal system. If it's not easy, it means that that country has a bad legal system. France, number 44. Okay, why do we care about that? Let me show you something. I hope I will manage to do that. So this is the Doing Business in 2004, the full version. You can Google Doing Business World Bank and you will find a website with all the doing business issues of every year. This is the issue of 2004. Why do we need this? Because if you Otonashi. Okay, thank you. That's better. If you scroll down, there is a, yes, I found it. So, What's this page? I know that the letters are a bit small, so I will explain you. Here you have all the countries which were included in this research, alphabetical order. And here it says legal origin. This means which was the country that was a model for this country's law. So, if you have a look here, it says French, 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 something else, French, 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 and French, and French. So, many countries have followed in the past the model of France. Here also, if you have a look, you can see the word French many times. So, if you Google this after the lecture and have a look, 2004 edition at the end, you will see that France, French law, had the strongest influence throughout the world many years ago. Other countries, Germany and England, German and English law. And you will also find some other laws, but it's mostly France, number one, German and English law. French, German, English law. So, you can easily guess that this was not good for France. It was not good. They thought that they're number one. We have influenced so many countries, and we are number 45. So, they started revising legal institutions. Why? Please underline legal exports. Home usage. What's that? France. France is exporting wine, chocolates, what else? Cosmetics, etc. Clothes, high couture. And was also supposed to export its law. What does that mean? That when there is a country without law, it would follow the French model. They would say, okay, so let's see what France is doing, and let's do it the same way. So they tried to make French law being exported again. 2009, they were number 31. They did a little bit better, but not good enough for them. So, we are finishing in around 10 minutes. Okay? So the last topic for today is, how about Japan? Well, Japan is not a legal export country. The law of Vietnam has been based on Japanese law, especially the civil law. But there are only a few countries following the Japanese model. Yes, but where does the Japanese law come from? Maybe you have heard about Sakoku. It was a period when Japan had closed its borders, no trading, no nothing, except some exceptions, okay? So, that finished at some point of time, and Japan was asked to sign treaties, Joyaku, with other countries, 5 countries. What kind of Joyaku? Tsushou Joyaku, treaties of commerce. Were there nice treaties for Japan? No. Why is that? Well, because Japan had no tariff autonomy. Kanzei Jishuken, no, for Japan. So Japan could not decide about its tariffs. And second, there were extraterritorial rights, 治外法権. What does that mean? That if there was a person coming from one of those 5 countries, especially, and he did something wrong in Japan, he could not be put into trial in Japan. He could say, I'm going back home, and there they will try to do a short trial, and I'm fine, I will go back home. Okay, thank you. So, after the Meiji Restoration, Meiji Ishin, things changed. The Japanese government said, no more treaties like this. We need to change this. So, they started negotiating Kosho for a revision. The answer from the 5 countries was, you know, Japan, you're not modern. Modern. It's a difficult word. What does modern mean? For example, the way that I'm dressed, is it modern? The way he lives, transporta. I'm not going to ask how many of you have seen this movie. It was a full series of many movies anyway. Is he modern? Is his way of life modern? Or, for example, is he modern today? He was modern some months ago. I'm not sure today if he's modern. Things change, you know. I like him, okay? But I'm not sure if he's modern. So, I started learning English when I was 12 years old. I still remember I would go back home and my mother, she would ask me, so what did you learn today? And I would say, I learned some sentences. For example, I have an apple. She would say, oh, that's good. What else? I have a pen. Oh, that's good too. But then she would tell me, you know, in the future, you need to be able to say more difficult things in English. Otherwise, you cannot earn money. He's earning millions a year by saying, I have a pen, I have an apple. So you see how wrong people can be. Okay? Anyway, yes. So the foreign countries told Japan, you know, Japan, you're not modern. Why is that? Because you don't have a Minpo, civil code, you don't have a Keiho, you have no laws like we, the modern countries, do. So the Japanese government said, we need to create new laws to become modern and to change the treaties. So, they tried to create a civil code, Minpo. We will finish in 5 minutes. How should we do that? Now, if you read books, it's a very complicated procedure. I will omit the details. It was something like cheating, kanningu. Some students don't study, and they try to copy other students' answers. Well, the Japanese government tried to do something like that because there was no time. They were in a hurry. They needed to negotiate. So they said, which is the best civil code in the world? French code. Okay. Translation into Japanese, and we have a Japanese civil code.
Oh.
But, as you can easily understand, some words could not be translated. Why is that? Because in Japan, they still had no notions similar. For example, saiken, saimu. There were no Japanese words, obligations, etc., rights. So they were creating new words, a very difficult and long procedure. So they said, stop. We will call a French scholar from France to Japan, invite him, and he will prepare the civil code better. So if you're a student and you cannot cheat, you say, okay, I will pay some money to my friend, he's a good student, and he will do Kaedama Juken. He will come and he will take the exam for me. No, it's not the same, okay, I make it simple. So, he was honored. They gave him 6 times his salary in France. So if he was making 10 million yen in France, they gave him 60 million yen to come to Japan. I would go. If you have something like this, please call me. I would go anywhere for 6 times my salary. Okay, do not forget me. Please invite me. So, and he prepared a draft which was in French, translated into Japanese, and this was the new Japanese civil code. But Kyoto University, Hogakubu, I belong to the Faculty of Law. We have many famous and good professors. They are top professors. Most of them study German law. If you go to Tokyo University, most of the professors study American law, which was the same then. So Tokyo University professors said, French law? No way. And they were strong because they were Tokyo University professors. So the government said, okay, we will postpone, enki suru, the enforcement, and this time 3 Japanese professors will prepare a new draft. These are the 3 professors, Nobushige Hozumi, Masaaki Tomi, and Kenjiro Ume. They were all very young, 30-some years. The oldest of them was the same age with me, 37. The youngest, I think, Kenjiro Ume, was 32 or something. They were top Tokyo University students. They had studied abroad with top grades. They had come back to Japan, and they were young professors of Tokyo University. They created a new draft which had a strong influence of German and French law. The question is, me. I told you that Tokyo University is influenced by American law. Where did that go? To be continued next week. Thank you very much for attending the lecture. See you next week. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.